Hey, good morning, YouTube. It's PD, and just an update on what's been going on here. I started out going a couple weeks back, working on putting together some computer to handle the Zebra 2 VSTi synthesizer made by Yuhi, Spitfire Labs, and then stuff to run the bass through. I like this TH3 or THU has some bass stuff that I've used. Amplitude, Guitar Rig has some bass stuff. I kind of mix and match, and I've used this before for recording. So it's having an individual computer that's not the one that I go online on. The idea with this computer is it's not really hooked up to the internet, except for when I do the installation. When I install the Windows and download the video driver and then install the rest of the software, like the Spitfire Labs, you have to go to their website and go through their servers to install that stuff. And the reason that I'm doing that is because of the quality. The Spitfire Labs are really great. They're some of the best sounding samples I've ever heard. So, and they're free. So, this is turning into a trade-off at this point. I had two computers here that one was my little brother's old computer, and when I got it, the cooling tower was off of it, and the fan that goes on the CPU, and it had a bad graphics card. So replaced the thermal paste, reinstalled the cooling tower, replaced the bad video card, and then it installed Windows. I put in a couple of hard drives and then began this process of transferring a bunch of stuff I'd already downloaded, a bunch of VSTi stuff, and then installing all that and testing it out, along with a very old EMU 0404 sound card that I was able to get some 64-bit drivers that worked. And I did a Windows 7 install simply because I wasn't sure if this EMU card would even work on Windows 10. So it got to a point where then the Spitfire Labs wouldn't install because it only works with Windows 7 Service Pack 1. So I'm like trying to update the Windows 7 computer, and it's like, no, Microsoft doesn't support that anymore. So you can't get that stuff. So you can't get it from them. So I went and found a copy of the Service Pack 1, clearly labeled 64-bit Windows 7. It comes in as file. It's a 500 meg thing that took forever. Look, what's with all of these servers are so slow nowadays. It used to, I used to every once in a while run into a slow server. Now it's like all of them. Really, like they've cut back. Anyway, I got this file, it's called. So I changed the name of it to file.exe and click on it. Computer science, right? So this is like what you're not supposed to ever do, okay? Don't do what Petey does. Anyway, it comes up and says, hey, pal, you've got a 64-bit operating system. This is the 32-bit update. So I went and downloaded the 970, some larger file. And yes, it was the Service Pack 1 64-bit. That installed, and then I went and uninstalled Spitfire. I tried it. And there was a Microsoft C++ install from 2015 that buddied in with that Spitfire Labs install. So I clicked on that. I use this Revo Uninstaller Pro, and it cleans up more leftovers than Windows does when you uninstall a program. So I go to uninstall this, and it comes up with an option to repair it. And I thought, well, gee, let me try just repairing it. Maybe that'll just reinstall it. And now that I've put Service Pack 1 in and then install, like this would be just like what you're supposed to do if you were going to install Spitfire Labs properly. Because I didn't know. I didn't see where it said Windows 7 64 Service Pack 1. I didn't see that. I just saw Windows 7 64 and said good in my mind. So after reinstalling the C++ and then reinstalling the Spitfire Labs, it came up. And then I began a whole day and night of installing all of the Spitfire Labs one at a time, individually, because that server's super slow. And we went to bed while it was downloading Trumpets. There was two more after, like, we had done all of them. Massive amount. Like, I think there's like 31. So we had done 20, 29, 28. And we had two more. Anyway, the next day I wake up and my wife had the day off of work. She says, hey, that computer was off. So I boot it up and it's in safe mode. And then it just starts shutting itself off. And I can't even get into BIOS. I can't even hit delete. It's turning itself on and shutting itself off. So it turns out that either, and like, again, this is just, I don't know until I go through with this, but it's either the RAM slot, I think in the number 2 position, is bad, or that RAM chip. I think it's the RAM chip because I seem to remember moving it into the 1 slot and that not working, but I need to get that thing up over here and play with it again. So there is a, because when you remove this RAM, it's okay. There's a used computer guy, a Korean gentleman named, I think his business is called Han System. So everyone calls him Han. I'm not sure if that's his name, but that's what he goes by, Han System. And he's in this Anchor Rock, it's called. It's a industrial park. It's a mile away from my house. You go over there if he's there, and you could, like, basically, it's a huge warehouse, and it's just full of computer parts. And he rebuilds laptops and sells them, and systems and sells them. So he's buying bulk pallets of stuff, you know, from businesses that get rid of their computers, and then he goes through them. I know he got in trouble for a while because he was selling systems with Windows on them, and he got in trouble for that, and then he was, like, really trying to promote Linux. Like, anybody that walked in a store, he was like, Linux, have you tried it? He's like, here's a disk. Like, he was trying to really get everybody to get excited over Linux, which didn't last long. But Han is a great guy, and I'm pretty sure I can go over there and get a replacement 2 gig stick of DDR2 RAM for $10 from him, maybe even $5. I'm usually going in there looking for something like that, like some really old serial port cable, and he'll be like $1. He's a lot of times he charges me $1. And one time I was in there, he asked me to go home and burn him a disc of. He said, "Can you help me? Can you run home and burn me a copy of Windows Service Pack 1 for XP or something?" And I did it. I went home and did it. So he kind of owes me, and he knows that I don't like to pay a lot when I go in there. And he'll let me jump into a box of stuff and dig through it. He said there might be one back there in this box if you want to look through it. So I love going to Hans System. I'm always joking around with him and having a laugh, and he'll educate me. I've learned a lot from going in there. Anyway, yeah, that one computer, probably what's going to happen, I'm going to go over there, get a RAM chip, and then reinstall everything and just go with Windows 10 and try that sound card, the EMU0404, and hope that driver functions in Windows 10, which I think it should. If it works in Windows 7 64, but I don't know about that. I don't know. I'll probably, after this video, I'm probably going to Google that. So there's another computer here that is an AMD A6 5400K chip, and it's got a smaller cooling fan on it. Like, I don't know about this. Anyway, that computer had an 8 gig stick of RAM in it, and last night I spent the whole night installing Windows on it, only to see that it just kept failing. It's not stable, and I believe it's just the motherboard. There's an issue with that motherboard, because I tried 3 different hard drives on it. I thought maybe the hard drive was giving me some bunk, but basically you could install the Windows, it would reboot, it would take a lot longer to install it. Like, it took a long time. It was like about a half hour. And then Windows 10, and then maybe you could install the video driver, but usually by that point it would have this light blue screen that would come up. There's a problem with your PC. It had a QR code that says your PC needs to restart. We're going to see if we can fix it. So, I mean, going back a few weeks, that's all I've been doing is installing stuff on that first computer that had the bad RAM chip, and I'm not even sure about that. So what I'm going to be doing is process of eliminating these 2 computers to see if that one I can use it, and if not, there's this black computer that sits here that's a quad core 3.6 gig that I used to edit all my video on. It was like my main fast computer. And then I've got this computer here that's an i7 8 core or something. I'm not sure. It's not. I think it is 8 core. It's 8 core i7 chip, and that's a brand new motherboard. It's about a year old. And the thing about this is it sits over here, and the area where I really need it is over there. Now, I can get across that by running cables, but it's also my everyday driver PC. So, I mean, the idea was initially to have this machine that I could put over on the other side of the room that had just what I needed on it. Spitfire Labs, Zebra 2 synth, Hive synth, Diva synth, all these VSTI synths that I love to use. And then maybe some stuff, more modern guitar stuff. I found some really cool amp and cab sim stuff that sounded very modern, genty stuff. I'm still, when I record this piece of music, I'm going to be using the Roland VG8 and the Roland VG88, but not exclusively. Those machines don't have modern tones on them. They don't have the ultra high gain Soldano rectifier 5150 or any of that like super modern sound. So if I want that, I can get that by modeling it on a PC for cheap, for free, and that's what I'm looking to do. So it's been unbelievably frustrating. I can't stand this kind of work. I've been depressed. I wish I was at the point where I could move forward, but I can't. I'm looking at 2 more weeks of the same shit before I can set up the recording rig how it needs to be set up and get everything running in here and then start making music. So that's the update. And like I said, these computers were dropped off here as inoperative, non-working units, and I found that the thermal paste was all dried up in them, and they had other issues like bad video cards. So that just, I thought, oh, well, gee, the video card's smoked and the thermal paste is dry on it, and it reinstalled Windows and it took Windows. And yeah, one computer I had it on for a whole like 8 hours playing stuff on it, and it never glitched, never rebooted. But then the more I ran it, eventually this other problem reared its head, which I don't have a replacement RAM stick for that, but I haven't really looked. I really need to rely on my wife for that. So she's coming home soon in an hour or two, and I'm going to have her look through that RAM. Maybe we'll just run over to Hans System right away. I should probably call him. So that's what's going on. And ultimately what this boils down to is I've got a rack mount synth that has really good sounds on it. So there's that. We found a MIDI controller for $10 at Goodwill. So there's that. And it really isn't a big deal if I don't have exactly what I wanted, because I've done it before on this. Minor technical difficulties was done. The Zebra synth was used here, me sitting right here playing those parts. I would turn the monitor so I could see the DAW and have the DAW move the DAW remote over here, and put the keyboard on my lap and do the tracking right here with my headphones on. So, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to be having 2 areas where I have to move. But who knows? Until I actually, and this is the thing, like, I don't want to let these decisions dictate the piece, because I know if I have the synth right there, that's what I need. I don't need to be moving everything and switching monitors around and fucking around. I need to have it over there. So it might be a thing where I'll have to take this computer and move it, and then use the black computer as my daily. So that's an idea there, And the thing with this computer is that the Spitfire Labs isn't up to snuff on it. And it's got a ton of stuff on it. This one has a lot of stuff. And I really was hoping to just have just what I needed, because it makes it so much easier. So It's like I need another computer, or I need to take, shit or get off the pot. So that's the process of what it's going to be, is figuring out, are either of these other two any good? And then no, okay, what's the next step? So that's where I'm at with this. Wish me luck. We haven't been playing, and my self-esteem just goes on the toilet when I'm not playing. So, there's only so much Gordon Ramsay you can watch before you start having nightmares. All right, you guys, take care of yourselves. Be safe, and peace.